It's the time in our service where we collect an offering. To those attending MCC Boston through our YouTube page, you too can participate by going to our website at mccboston.org and clicking on the donate button there for that purpose. Thank you for being a part of our church family. Members and friends of MCC Boston, this evening we're continuing on with our Stewardship Drive with its theme based on Matthew 6:21, for where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. We do have good news to share this evening, and that we're on our way toward meeting our goal. As a way of demonstrating our progress, we've added our heart treasure chests onto our stewardship poster up to the limit that we achieved as of last Sunday. Our pledge drive is continuing for a few more weeks, so there's still time to submit your pledge card. You'll find one conveniently located in your bulletin this evening. And with regard to the pledge, know that no amount is too small, because it could be your pledge that enables us to meet our goal. This year's pledge drive, for where your treasure is, there your heart will be also, is both a reminder and a call that God is counting on our church family to see the ministry of MCC Boston continues. In the same chapter from where our theme originates, Matthew instructs us not to store up treasures for ourselves on earth, but to store up treasures for ourselves in heaven. We accomplish this by opening up our hearts and resources to God's service. We know that God speaks to us through our hearts, connecting us emotionally to both the joys and plights of others. When we answer God's call through sacrifice of time or resources, we have all experienced the associated joy that God places within our hearts. Through your sacrifice of time and resources to this church, you are indeed storing up treasures in heaven, and you too will be a witness to the verse, for where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. As mentioned, you'll find your pledge card conveniently located in your bulletin this evening. Might I ask that you take that pledge card home and pray over it, and to what amount you can contribute to help support our MCC presence here in Boston. When completed, you can add your pledge card to the basket, letting MCC Boston know we can count on you. Thank you in advance for your participation.
A reading from the book of Jeremiah. The days are surely coming, says Yahweh, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and the house of Judah. It will not be like the covenant that I made with their ancestors when I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, a covenant that they broke. Though I was their husband, says God, but this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days. I will put my law within them, and I will write it on their hearts. And I will be their God, and they shall be my people. No longer shall they teach one another, or say to each other, know Yahweh, for they shall all know me, from the least of them to the greatest, says our God. For I will forgive their iniquity and remember their sin no more.
A reading from Romans. Now we know that whatever the law says, it speaks to those who are under the law, so that every mouth may be silenced and the whole world may be held accountable to God. For no human being will be justified in God's sight by deeds prescribed by the law, for through the law comes the knowledge of sin. But now, apart from the law, the righteousness of God has been disclosed and is attested by the law and the prophets. The righteousness of God through faith in Jesus Christ for all who believe. For there is no distinction, since all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. They are now justified by God's grace as a gift, through the redemption that is in Christ Jesus, who was put forward as a sacrifice of atonement by Christ's blood, effective through faith. God did this to show righteousness, because in divine forbearance God had passed over the sins previously committed. It was to prove at the present time that God alone is righteous and justifies the one who has faith in Jesus. Then what becomes of boasting? It is excluded. By the law? By that of works? No. But by the law of faith? For we hold that a person is justified by faith apart from works prescribed by the law.
Open your ears and your hearts to receive the Holy Gospel according to St. John in the 8th chapter. Then Jesus said to the Jews who had believed in him, "If you continue in my word, you are truly my disciples, and you will know the truth, and the truth will make you free." They answered him, "We are descendants of Abraham and have never been slaves to anyone. What do you mean by saying, 'You will be made free'?" Jesus answered them, "Very truly I tell you, everyone who commits sin is a slave to sin. The slave does not have a permanent place in the household. The Son has a place there forever. So if the Son makes you free, you will be free indeed." The Holy Gospel of our Christ.